Good evening, everybody. I want to thank everybody, my Facebook friends that showed up at El Ferragosto the other day. And if you don't, anybody who doesn't know what Ferragosto is, it's a Italian feast of music and food on Arthur Avenue for only 6 hours, from 12 to 6. Thousands of people show up. Some of the people grew up in the neighborhood. They come back. It's almost like a reunion. And I had my books out. I sold a lot of books, but more important, not selling the books, it's getting the name out. It's getting marketing the thing. So we had a really good time. We had good people and non-political, no violence, nothing. Everything was good. Everybody loved each other. It was. I wish we could do this all the time. I really. I wish everybody could do this all the time. Well, we got a lot of things to talk about tonight, and Ed Gianni is going to join me a little later on. Courtney Turner is moving from California, where a lot of people are moving from. And Joe Croce, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know. I think he's mad at me. I don't know. But then again, a lot of people are mad at me for stupid things that I say or stupid things that I do. But it is what it is. But I love him. He loves me. It's okay. All right. One thing I want to talk about is this California gubernatorial recall. And what's interesting about it is that Larry Elder is a conservative black person. Okay. And the New York Times, the New York Times, and I think the L.A. Times called him a white supremacist or something to that effect. They made racial overtones to him that if a Republican would have did that to a Democratic black campaigner, it would be like all over the place. But then he was attacked by a woman in a gorilla mask, of all things, and that's another sort of a racial innuendo right there. And she threw an egg and she missed. I guess she's not a good baseball player. But then she punched one of the security guards in the back of the neck. And one of the homeless people that was there punched him too. But they have no power. They have no strength. But they hit people in the back of the head. But what amazes me is that the mainstream media did not say anything about this. Normally, if it was the other way around, it would be all over the place. This picture would be blasted. This shows the hypocrisy of politics. Okay, this total hypocrisy, and they were so worried about him winning, but he lost. But you know what? There's something good came out of it. What it's telling the Democrats, especially in California, that people are fed up with the bullshit. They're fed up with the mandates. They're fed up with telling people you got to wear a mask, but they can have a dinner with dirty people with no mask. Same with Nancy Pelosi. Just had a hello, Eddie. How are you? Eddie Earl from Howard Beach, where I used to live many years ago. What happened is it's just amazing how things have changed around. The hypocrisy. Nancy Pelosi has a fundraiser for like 30 people, no masks, no nothing, but everybody else has to wear a mask. What this shows you is the elite are telling us, you guys are peasants, you're middle class, you're nothing. We tell you what to do, and you have to do what we tell you. Now, besides Pelosi what about Chuck Schumer going to the birthday party of Barack Obama in Martha's Vineyard? They're all no mask, nothing, but everybody else has to have a mask. Okay, so this is the bullshit that we have to go through. Now, a lot of people are rebelling. Some states, some governors are saying, "Hey, we're not doing it. We're not getting vaccinated unless I want to." Now, I feel the same way. I don't want someone to tell me you can't come into my restaurant because you don't have a vaccination card. And I would tell them, well, was your cook checked for HIV or hepatitis, or has he been involved with recreational drugs? I want to see proof that he's been vaccinated of that. Well, of course, they're going to say, we can't do that. Okay, well, then I'm not going to go into your fucking restaurant, okay? So that's what's going to hurt the restaurants, because some people like me are going to tell them that. Now, I've been vaccinated, okay? That's probably why I didn't do the show last week. I got vaccinated the day before, and I was very tired from the Hamptons for the Labor Day weekend. I went to the Hampton. I had a great time. Oh, my God. One of my clients, a really, really nice guy, invited me there. I've been there before, but he invited me there, and we had for 5 days, a long weekend: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, left Tuesday. We have a full-time chef. We have house staff. If you want a martini, you want a drink. I'm on the beach. The girl I was with asked them that they could bring us down a bucket with rosé and ice, and we had that on the beach. Just a wonderful weekend. Good people, had a lot of fun. With a little drama, we're not going to talk about that, but not with us, but with other people there. And we had a good time. Everybody had a good time. So I came back. I was a little tired. I got the shot. To me, I have a great immune system. I just got it to get it. Okay. I don't want to be able to. I don't want to have to be hassled with going to a restaurant or a club where I'm doing book signings a lot. And if it's a problem, I don't want to have a problem. Okay. And so that's that. But with Larry Elder, what they told the people they told the Democrats in California is that we're fed up. And the mere fact that they had a recall shows that there's something going on. What one did you get on? I got the Pfizer 1 and 2. Okay, Eddie. So what it's telling people is that, wait a minute, there are people in California that are pissed off. And, there are quite a few Republicans in California, but they're outnumbered by the Democrats. And at one time, California was a Republican state. They had Arnold Schwarzenegger at one time, Ronald Reagan years ago, and I think they had another Republican governor somewhere in between. But unfortunately, the Republicans and the conservatives are leaving the state, going to Texas or Idaho. And Idaho is there's 5 counties in Oregon that are asking to be succeeded from Oregon to go to Idaho, because it's right on the border of Idaho, and they're having some sort of election in the state, but unfortunately the state is all Democrat. Oregon is a leftist state, socialist Democrats, and then they're going to vote against it. But we'll see what happens. We'll have to see what happens. So, one of the reasons that people want to move out of California and move out of New York and Chicago is the crime. Now, here's the problem. You have Democratic governors, you have Democratic mayors, okay? They are not protecting their police. They're defunding, when they can, they're defunding the police. They're taking money away from them. The police in these states are demoralized. They don't want to do their job. I mean, if someone commits a murder or a serious crime, they're gonna go to it. But they're worried. If I arrest this guy and he resists arrest and I use too much force, so the general public doesn't realize that when you're arresting somebody, they don't want to be arrested. It's hard to put the handcuffs on them. Sometimes you need 2 people. And some of these perpetrators are big guys, or big women, or whatever. And, it's tough. You got to use whatever you can. And sometimes the method that you use can be interpreted as excessive force. But basically, you're trying to. There was a video once of a guy that didn't want to be handcuffed. It took 3 cops to get him down because he was, it's just it's tough. It's really tough. My day. Now, remember, I was a member of law enforcement, but I wasn't a street cop. Okay. But as a private eye, I did some street stuff, but that's another story. It's very hard to handcuff somebody who doesn't want to be handcuffed. It's very hard. And sometimes you got to, what we call, tune them up. You got to boom, 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 and maybe they'll put their hands behind their back. So I say that because police officers are misaligned. Everybody, a few bad apples, a few bad instances. And some of these instances that they rioted about, especially the Brown case in Ferguson, Missouri. Okay. The cop told the guy to stop. The guy is 305 pounds, 6'3", charging at him. Okay. Charging at him. He had no choice but to shoot. Because if this guy would have grabbed him or hit him, even the body tackling him could have hurt him. They made a big deal. They said that he had his hands up. No, he didn't have his hands up. He was just running at the guy. The guy just robbed a Korean deli or a store a few blocks away. So he's not an innocent victim. He's not an innocent bystander. He's a criminal attacking a police officer. And one politician, I'll never forget, I heard him say, he said they should hire bigger cops. As a reference that because the guy was big and he was smaller, he shouldn't have shot him. I mean, that's a stupidity, how stupid people could be. So what you have there, and then, you have the thing in with Floyd, who's high on fentanyl, is now he's another guy. He's 6'2", 200 and something pounds. He doesn't want to be arrested. He's resisting. The officer, I think he was wrong with stepping on his neck for 9 minutes. That's ridiculous. He should have stepped on his back, handcuffed him. But again, sometimes these guys don't want to handcuff. They want to be handcuffed. So they did what they felt was right, but it was wrong. But they're blaming BLM, Antifa, all these Kamala Harris and Biden. Oh, we have to. Hello, Eddie. They're coddling these criminals. As a matter of fact, Kamala Harris helped get money to bail out a criminal who just committed a murder. Okay. And what you don't hear her talking about that. It's very quiet. You don't hear her talking about anything. She is the worst example of a vice president I've ever seen in this country. She doesn't go to the southern border. She goes to Guatemala, and they didn't even want her there. The president of Guatemala even made a derogatory remark about her. Like, what the hell is she doing there? Oh, they want to understand the reason for why these people are leaving. The reason is they're in a poor country. And when you give money to the government there, they pocket the money. They don't give it to the people. The people have very little manufacturing. They're agricultural. Whatever they're making, coffee, whatever they're exporting. So they see an opportunity to come to the United States because we give away money for nothing. You got people getting Social Security when they never even worked here. So you can't blame these people for wanting to come here. I mean, I could never blame them. They want a better life. Unfortunately, they have to go through 2,000 miles of really tough terrain. But who pays for the transportation? George Soros. Soros pays for it. Soros is giving money to these people. Soros is the number one person that wants the reset of our values. He wants everybody to be socialist, communist. For example, he has given money to many of these district attorneys in these cities, these democratic cities, of course. And these democratic DAs are not prosecuting crimes. For example, in California, especially in San Francisco, if you rob less than $1,000, they don't charge you. So what are these people doing? They're going in with big shopping bags and they're robbing up to $999. And they're walking out. Now, what does that do? I'll tell you what it does. Besides the value of the cost of goods coming up, because who pays for the shortage of goods? The public. Okay. Also, they're closing some of these stores, and some of these stores are in neighborhoods where there's many black people, black and Hispanic. So now, where are they going to go to buy these products, to buy their groceries, to buy their whatever they have to buy? They got to go out of their neighborhood. They got to go. Some of these people don't have cars. So it affects the community that the robberies are being conducted in. And the district attorneys, they don't care because they don't live where these things are happening. Nancy Pelosi lives in San Francisco. She lives in a 200, I don't know how many $1 million home, gated. She's got guards. So they don't want you to have guns, but they got armed guards. It's okay. Like Cher, she has a wall around her house with an armed guard, but she doesn't want anybody having guns. And that goes for the Hollywood elite. Okay. Good evening, Bruno. How are you tonight? Anna. Cy Vance, I'm coming for you, motherfucker. All right. Anna Crow. I love you, Anna. Anna was the soccer mom that got prosecuted by Manhattan DA. I worked on her case. I helped out. I got subpoenaed to the grand jury because I was helping her, and I didn't give a damn. And I went over there, and they didn't even want me to talk. And it's a political takedown. So what we have is a breakdown of society, which is part of the Saul Alexic Saul shot. The Socialist Manifesto, which becomes a Communist Manifesto. And there's a great book out by called American Marxism. And Levin is the author. Mark Levin is the author. I haven't read it, but I heard it's a very good book. And what we have now is Marxism, which is communism in the United States, and people love it. But wait till it really becomes evident that you got to wait online for 3 hours to get a loaf of bread and stuff like that. It's going to happen. Matter of fact, when the COVID started, I understand that a lot of the stores were running out of food. People were getting nervous. A pandemic started a mass buying, and people, supply and demand. People, the Democrat socialists want that to happen. That's why we have all these illegal immigrants coming over the border, because they want a better life. And Biden opened the borders. Now, here's the problem we have. He wants a mask. He wants everybody to get vaccinated and wear masks. What about the people coming over the border? They're not vaccinated. They're not even tested. They come over and they get dispersed in the whole United States. So what happens is, if they have COVID, which some of them have, I believe I don't know the percentage, but quite a few have them. What they're going to do is they're going to give it to other people, other parts of the country. And then we're going to have another pandemic, and they're going to have more control. They want this. This is the perfect storm for the Democrat socialists. This is what they want. And I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but this Wuhan, Vinny LaBarbera, how are you doing, buddy? I love your first name. What we have here is, my opinion, is that this Wuhan laboratory let it out on purpose. I'm sure that the Chinese communists had the vaccine before anybody, so they didn't care if so many people died, because they have so many people in China. What's a couple million died from the 3 billion that they have there? Okay, so this is my feeling. Anybody wants a comment, please go on Facebook, go whatever you want to do, just let me know. I'll comment on it. That's my belief, because we had an election coming up. Now, with this pandemic, you had people didn't want to go to vote. So what they did, they have paper ballots. And that's where the fraud came in. Yes, I mean, we have documented proof that thousands of ballots were misappropriated, were recounted, uncounted, recounted. Unbelievable. But it was too late to do anything about it. Too late. I think Trump got trumped. Okay? Trump got trumped. All of a sudden, at 2:00 in the morning, all of a sudden, all these ballots came in. And I don't know, and even in Larry Elder's campaign, some people came to vote, and they said, "Oh, you voted already." I said, "Wait, I didn't even show up. I just came here, got here." Oh, so you know that there was some fraud there. But actually, the margin that Newsom won by, I don't think there was too much fraud. They won. But they were nervous. They were very, very nervous. They brought Biden in. They brought Kamala, who very unpopular person, Kamala Harris. And Biden is not doing too well either. And I don't know who else they brought in. Probably some elite Hollywood stars. And, it behooves me. Now, the other day, there was a Met Gala, a big gala. Everybody dresses up. And AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, dressed in a beautiful white dress with Tax the Rich. Meanwhile, at this dinner, $35,000 a ticket. Of course, she didn't have to pay for a ticket because, she's the elite. And she was wearing very expensive jewelry that she was borrowed, okay? And she's telling people, you got to tax the rich. All the people there were rich people. I don't know if anybody said anything to her there, or they just laughed, ha, ha, ha. Because, tax the rich. the rich have so many loopholes. I like to know Dorsey, who owns Twitter, is a billionaire. I'd like to know how much money taxes he paid last year. And Bezos, how much taxes does he pay on his $180 billion that he owns? And they complained about Trump not paying tax when he prepaid taxes, and he only had to pay $750, and they were like going crazy about that. Okay, and they tried to indict him on tax or whatever, and Manhattan DA couldn't do it. So what they did, they got his accountant for going out to dinner or whatever. They got him for stuff that they wouldn't even charge anybody for. They charged them. This shows you the deep state that we're in. This shows you what the duplicity of the government. Now, we are going to have an election in another year, 2022. I suspect, and I hope, and I'm optimistic, that the Republicans are going to take the House and the Senate. Now, luckily, they have a Democratic Senator, Manchin, who is physically responsible. He knows that this infrastructure bill is bullshit, that it's going to put us in such debt, and the debt ceiling is going to be so high, and the inflation is going to go high. Already, people are complaining about the gas prices. Lumber, the lumber went up dramatically. Also, I was at the eyeglass doctor last week, and there was a guy there from Porsche. He was a parts manager. I was talking to him. He said they can't even get parts from Europe because of the shipping, and this is a plan. This is a plan to make everything go crazy. Antifa and Black Lives Matter. That's an arm of the Democratic Party. They want chaos. They live off chaos. They love it. And I'm not going to go into January 6th, that crazy, because what happened that day, in my opinion, is that there were some people from Trump that overreacted. But you had Black Lives Matter and Antifa. It's proven that they were there, causing more trouble, knowing that it's going to make it look bad for the conservatives. And the cops there, they let the people in. So it wasn't like they bum rushed the place. The cops let them in. And some of the people, I have to admit, some of the people got a little carried away. And like the cop that killed Ashley Babbitt, there was no reason to kill her. She wasn't armed. She wasn't doing anything. But he killed her. He got nervous. Some cops are cowards. Some cops, even though they carry guns, they're punks. Okay, I've grown up with people in my neighborhood that were punks, and they become cops, and all of a sudden they're tough guys. Okay, because they got a badge and a gun, and now they're tough. They didn't get away with it. All right, Eddie Ciani's waiting on the wings. He's waiting patiently, nervously to talk, to inspire us with his intelligence and his wit. Well, his half wit. But can we bring Eddie in here? Oh. Did I put you to sleep, Eddie?
Oh, hey, yeah. Vinny, how you doing? Hey, how are you? What's going on? Oh, no, you just made me so tired trying to keep up with you that my energy level just went.
You know that.
What'd you say?
I'm a bundle of energy.
That's one way of putting it, yes.
Well, what's the other way of putting it?
There are so many different terms we could use to describe you. But maybe we shouldn't go into that because then we'd be here all night. We'll be here all night. You know, the one thing about the AOC thing I want to bring up,
yes,
is you're right. It's the tickets are 30,000 or 35,000. The tables start at 200,000. It's by a very, very, very special invitation. The guest list is very kept, and I don't know if anybody else saw any, but did you see anybody wearing a mask?
No.
And that was in New York City, right?
And they're supposed to be in New York City, according to Mayor de Blasio, you must be vaccinated. If you can't walk, if you got to have a card. So none of them had cards, or if they had cards, they didn't show them.
It doesn't matter. The vaccination wasn't for wasn't to get in. You have to wear a mask anyway. They're going back to that mandate to wear a mask. So You're right about the hypocrisy. The only problem is every time I think that people are starting to really wake up and see what's going on, then something like what happened in California makes me think no. Uh, Now we have to worry about Gary Newsom being empowered, thinking that he is justified in all his stuff, that everything he was doing is okay because Larry, what's his last name?
Elder.
Elder did not lose. Let's clear this up. He did not lose. None of the other people lost. They don't count unless Gary Newsom got enough votes to say we want to um, kick him out.
Right.
So since the vote wasn't enough for his recall, he stayed in.
Right.
So there was no loss. So Larry Elder and all those others, nobody lost because they never got a chance.
Right.
Yeah. So if Gary Newsom would have gotten recalled, and then somebody else would have gotten in except Larry Elder, then yeah, then we can say he lost.
Hmm.
But I honestly believe with the amount of people and the amount of aggravation it took to even get this recall going, to have him pull out of this at that kind of a margin, no, something is wrong. There is absolutely no way. You think that it wasn't? I'm telling you right now. I wonder how many of those people who voted no for the recall were actually real people. How many people were alive?
What do
How
you mean?
many people, were illegal aliens?
That,
They're not going to tell you. You cannot tell me that you had a state that's been screaming and yelling for the last year and a half, the entire state, not just little pieces, the entire state. There has been nobody who's been happy with this man.
no.
They had pulled over how many votes they needed to start the recall? 2 million
Yeah.
signatures.
Yeah.
Okay, so they went through all this to get it defeated by that big of a margin.
Hmm. Yeah, but let me tell you why it was a win and not a loss. It shows how often do you ever
What did it show, Vinny? It didn't show
show that
anything. It
people?
went nowhere.
Yes, it did. It had made him have to fight to keep his job. They had
No, all it did was vindicate him on all the stuff he was doing.
well,
Because now he's going to be more empowered and more vindicated because he's, look, well, what happened to me when I did all that stuff? Nothing. It was just a bunch of people that were
well,
whining.
here's my estimate of Newsom. Very good looking guy, very charismatic. He's
Who?
gonna Newsom. He's a good looking man. He doesn't look as good as you, but he's a good looking man. He's a good politician.
I
Okay.
think you might be able to set him up for a date with you if you want.
Well, I don't know. He's too tall for me.
Uh,
But in any event, in
Vinny,
any,
everybody's too tall for you. You're a midget.
a powerful midget,
Uh-huh.
nonetheless. But who's going to be the standard bearer for the Democratic Party for 2024? Kamala Harris. Biden will be dead by then, or he'll be in a nursing home, uh, choking on his own vomit. He's had it. Kamala Harris, forget about it. They're not going to. They won't. He would go in a primary because the Democrats love to go against each other in a primary, and he would probably get the nomination. That's my feeling. And what you just said, he feels empowered, and I think he's going to feel that he can run. What do you think about that?
Well, see, the first problem is you're thinking with some kind of common sense and normality. The Democrats, and I hate saying Democrats,
Socialist.
Republican,
Yeah.
this group of people, they don't care. I mean, they literally don't care. They will do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. And there's people out there that'll back them up no matter what.
But you think they're going to have Kamala Harris run for president next time?
I think what they're doing is actually smart. They're saying to Kamala Harris, don't do anything. Don't say anything. Don't do anything. If you're asked to do something, do the opposite.
Well, that's what she's been doing. She's
And
been all,
that's right. So what happens is we have nothing to fight her on because she didn't do anything. She didn't say anything. There's no quips. So what are they going to bitch about? Oh, well, she didn't go to the southern border. Yeah. So we can't complain about her policies or what she did because there wasn't any.
policies.
Right. So,
She also said, but I didn't go to Europe. I mean, that was her.
yeah, well, yeah, and you're talking. What are we talking? Little shit. Okay. So she's doing exactly what she's supposed to do, and she's doing her job very well. There's nobody who can play as nothing as good as. Listen, Biden did the same thing. They told him they kept him in a basement. They kept him locked away. He didn't do shit or go anywhere, and he still won.
I think he won.
It doesn't matter
He won. Okay.
whether it was crooked or not. He played the game. They did what they had to do, and that was it. And they're going to do the same thing with Kamala Harris. Watch. You're going to see. It's going to be, everyone's going to be sitting there looking at each other going, wait, what? You know, when they lost to Trump, they at that point said no more playing nice. And
Yeah.
they went
Yeah.
and they dug stuff up that was unbelievable. And to give you an example, you were talking about that woman with the gorilla mask on that threw the egg at Larry Elder. Now, if that was a Proud Boy or a white person that didn't have the gorilla mask, oh, wait, let me rephrase that. If Larry Elder was white and that person was wearing a mask, all hell would have broke loose. But because he's black, but he was a Republican, they didn't say anything. If he was a Democrat, it would be a whole racial thing. She's wearing a gorilla mask. She's calling black people gorillas. She's a racist. She's a white supremacist. She assaulted somebody with an egg. Oh, you know, what are we going to do?
One of his security guards, she punched him.
Right.
Now, most people would look at, most people said to me, Vin, if it was me, I would have hit it back. The problem is when you're doing security, you cannot be distracted from your client. And so he tried to get away from her and go back to protect Larry Elder. He had other people protecting him. But the thing is, he was a nervous wreck because, oh my God, if they did this, what are they going to do to him? And
no, he was concerned with keeping her from moving forward.
No, right.
Elder was safe. He was the wall. So his job is to take the punch first. Right. And all the other stuff. You know what? That is irrelevant. What's relevant is how much of it did you hear about?
No, the media didn't do anything about it.
How long was it in the news?
Not at all. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. Yeah,
so if it was one guy who is a Proud Boy walking down the street,
oh, it would be, forget about it. It would be all over the place.
And I'm not endorsing Proud Boys. I don't even know who the hell they are. If it wasn't for all this that was going on, nobody would even know them. They're the ones giving them all the problem because they can't say Ku Klux Klan anymore because they're all Democrats anyway. But, well, they are. I mean, they're the ones that created it.
I read something that Biden family years ago had slaves. Remember, basically, he's a Southerner.
Let me clear something up for everybody. There isn't a nation, a race, a population, or a person that at some point in history did not own or sell slaves. Every single nationality had slaves.
Right. Going back to the days of
Egypt. Italy, Mesopotamia, China. We all sold. So there is nobody who's exempt from this.
My family's from Italy. We never had slaves.
Bullshit. Yes, they did.
No, we didn't.
Yes, you did.
We had donkeys to do the work.
No. Italy was one. Italy's had a slave trade. Sure, they did.
Romans. When the Romans, they had slaves.
Well, it was still what Italy is today, and you're Roman, so yeah, they had slaves.
Yeah. Well,
Actually, they were the ones that were the worst cruel to the slaves because they had gladiators on top of it.
oh, let's take a little break. Anthony, you want to bring out my I got a new book that's out. What's that? Um, all right, Mafia Double Cross is a story about the Mafia and FBI going to a resort, and a lot of mayhem occurs. I won't tell you the rest of it because you got to buy the book. Investigations After Dark are true stories of a private eye. Many sexual innuendos, a lot of sexual cases, divorces, going undercover to strip clubs, going undercover to places of ill repute. I like that word. And it's a sexy. My old publisher told me to write this book. Then from the Detective's Kitchen is stories of the recipes from a real private eye. I went to French cooking school as a hobby when I was on the job with the state of New York. And then when it became private, when people go out on surveillances and they want to eat, instead of going out to McDonald's or something, I'd make them a nice dish, a dish that I would say is a gourmet dish, duck Laurent. And here is my new. Just came out yesterday. I had it out. I took it off. I did some editing. This is Rogue PI. Just to give you a quick synopsis, it's about some of my high-profile cases, some of the crazy things that I've done. A fatal attraction case, Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton. I worked that case. Elton John DNA. We got a thing about Anthony Quinn. We worked that case. We have the thing, Kill My Wife, Kill My Wife. We were on the front page of all the newspapers, that case. And a few other things. We got a judge selling real estate on the bench. We went undercover and got her. And then, of course, my daughter was a great private eye because she learned from the best. Parkland Associate, doing asset checks, background checks, locate, landlord tenant, matrimonial, criminal due diligence. And we got it all together. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Parko Media, Law and Disorder. We have a lot of disorder going on, a lot. Speaking of disorder, I don't want to change the subject, but I'm allowed to, right? By that?
No.
A guy killed a little girl, a hit and run accident the other day. He robbed a car. When they caught him, he had 160 violations. How could this guy be driving a car with that many violations? What is going on in our criminal justice system that these people can just and then he stole another car? I mean, why? Because people are not, they don't have to get bail. There's no bail now.
Really? You just asked that question. How is he driving? He stole the car.
No, but
it doesn't matter if he has a driver's license or not.
No, I know, but he's been driving. He does have a license, but they could have locked him up. If you and I would have did half of what he did, we would be locked up. How did he get away with it? New York City. New York City does not lock anybody up. The district attorney, the new district attorney they have, actually went on record saying that he's not going to prosecute low crimes. So what happens is these guys commit crimes. They're out on the street and they commit more crimes.
I like the way you said that before about they're robbing 999,000. Like these guys. First of all, not half of them can't even count that high, and most of the places they're robbing, most of the places they're robbing don't have that much money to begin with. So, just here in the last week, there was. In Ridgewood, on the border of Ridgewood and Middle Village, they robbed the CVS by gunpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Monday, there in Howard Beach, they robbed a Dollar Tree by gunpoint. So whoever, and I'm willing to bet they're the same people. So there's somebody running around with gun, hitting these little cheap ass stores. I don't think they're not going to worry about the $999.99 kind of shit.
But like you said, they can't count, so they're just grabbing. They're grabbing, and the assumption is that they took less than. All right. We have a culture that emboldens criminals. There's a number of reasons this is happening. Why does a punk feel bold enough to shoot at police officers? lack of support on the streets, defunding the police, bail reform, lack of prosecution, etc. These punks have no fear pulling out a gun. They have to know if they shoot a police officer, they won't walk the street. It's a shame and disgrace to what's going on. Eddie, you're 110%, and we can only agree with you. And what is going on? Why the people that are making these laws don't have to follow the laws because they live in on a what is that, a glass castle, whatever, what's the expression, whatever.
Vinny, you know, you said before about this, they don't have to live and they're doing all this stuff. You know, you gotta, there's a little more deeper thing to this. People are leaving LA and New York not because of the crime. That's just a piece of it. But it's because they're being taxed like hell
Oh yeah, okay, well,
on top of the crime. So here's how the scenario goes. It's really kind of simple. You have the Democrat like de Blasio, who's a socialist, who's ripped off New York City beyond belief. If
and
not
his
him,
wife,
his wife.
and his
Yes.
wife, yeah.
So what they do is they tax you higher. They find something. In this case, with him, he started charging more for parking on the streets in New
Mm.
York City. He extended the time. They want to do a congestion tax. He's got money from kickbacks from the people who rent the city bikes. He got kickbacks from those people who are what is that, rent the little motorcycles and stuff like that, right? And then on top of that, they do all these social programs. And I'm not saying social programs are wrong. I'm not saying they're bad. But come on, when you're putting homeless people in hotels that are $300-400 a night hotels, and you're letting people stay in houses that haven't paid rent in 6 to 8 months to a year, and you're letting criminals out with no bail, and you got correction officers who are getting popped in jails with no problem, and cops getting shot at, uh, it's like, what the hell do they need to stay here for? And as long as they do the shiny thing, oh, we spent all this. Look, we closed streets. We have this open streets now. So no cars. Let's do a war against cars. But wait, you're going to tax me 3 times as much to have a car, but then you want to make it so I can't drive it anywhere.
Right.
Isn't that taxation without representation?
Oh,
Didn't we throw a bunch of tea in Boston Harbor because of something like that? You know, but you got people who are allowing it to happen. And what are you going to do? So they get fed up and they leave. And then who's left? The only people left are the ones that don't care, because what's going to happen to them?
Mm.
The worst case scenario, they go to jail. They get 3 meals a day, medical, dental. They
Yeah,
don't
but
have to worry about anything.
surprised
Come
me
on.
about the crime. A lot of the crimes are being committed by people that should be in a mental hospital. You got a guy the other day kicked a woman down the stairs in a subway for no reason. Just kicked her down and they kicked her in the stomach down below. Fortunately, she didn't get terribly. She got some minor injuries.
Right.
But you got
So
people pushing people in front of trains. You got people.
where is this homeless group?
They're all over.
No, but I'm saying we have a police force that is just basically for homeless people.
Yeah, but they're not. There's not enough of them. Not enough police.
Where are they putting them? They're not putting them in hospitals. They're not putting them in facilities to take care of them. They're putting them in 6-star hotels.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do? They walk out of the hotel, they go down the block, and they do something stupid. We're not treating them.
Well, about a year ago, they put a whole bunch of homeless people in a very expensive hotel on the Upper West Side. They were urinating in the street, even though they're in a hotel. They're still acting as if they're on the street again because they have no, as we say, no shkumbari, no embarrassment. They don't care, and they were faulting people. They were attacking, and what I understand is that in the rooms that they gave them, the hotel room, They made a terrible mess. I mean, it's disgusting.
Yeah,
They,
and they got room service when they wanted room
yeah,
service in those rooms, and there was drug needles all over the place. Yeah, and it's still happening.
it's still happening. Yes.
It's still happening.
People that
I,
have $200,000, $300,000 co-ops or $500,000 co-ops in that neighborhood. A lot of them sold their co-op. They got out of there.
I remember not too long ago, but before the COVID stuff, walking 6th Avenue down around 34th Street in that area, and I saw they had this one section closed off for people to sit, tables. It was a nice little outdoor kind of thing. I said, oh, that's nice. But right next to it, there was a bunch of homeless people. And what they did was they created these little, I'm going to call them apartments, out of cardboard box.
Yeah.
So they circled off an area and taped the boxes together at a certain height. So that was their spot. And next to them was another one. And I remember seeing these two women there. And they were visiting each other. They would crawl over the box and sit with each other and do whatever they're going to do. And then one said, I'm going to go back over there, and they would go back to the other box. And this was almost all the way down the block. And I'm like, so what do we have these people sitting outside enjoying themselves, having a cup of coffee or drinking, and we're trying to get them when they got to smell these people right next to them? And the city's answer to that is, oh, well, the streets belong to everybody. They deserve to be out there as much as everybody else. So what do you do? What do you do?
You know what Rudy Giuliani used to do? He had a special squad of detectives, police. They went around with a truck and they took them off the street. Now, ACLU sued them. I don't know what happened with that. Probably nothing. The city's always being sued anyway. And the homeless situation was much better when under Giuliani and even under Bloomberg. But
I'm making a tack.
What
am I tacking?
I don't know. Are you ATAC? Maybe there's a T missing out of that.
Is that a Star Wars reference? Am I in a? No, and you're right, Vinny. Except for one small. See, what they used the panhandler rule, where if you don't have a certain amount of and something in you with that, and then they would pick them up. And those patrols are still out there. I saw them there. I saw the vans on 24th Street and 6th Avenue not too long ago.
Are they doing anything? The vans, are they doing anything? No.
Yeah. And even if they do, all they do is they go over and they say, do you need anything? Is everything all right? Can I help you with anything? No? Okay. And they move on. Do you want to come with us? We'll put you in a place to sleep. No. And no, we don't want to go. Okay. We're fine. And so that's what the difference was. And it was also, I don't know if you remember before when Julie took over, you remember you couldn't drive down the street without 15 people jumping in front of your car when you stopped at a red light to clean your windshield.
Yeah, the squeegee guys, yeah.
The squeegee guys.
They did stop that.
They stopped that too because it was all part of the same thing. They said, hey, you're not allowed to attack people or go after them, and that's what it was looking like. And so they went.
A cop in the Bronx with his family, he actually shot and killed one of those squeegee guys, and he got away with it. You know why? He wasn't tried in New York City. His lawyer made a venue change. He got tried in upstate New York, and the people upstate New York, they don't like that shit. They acquitted him.
Well, the people in upstate New York don't have to live with any of this stuff.
No.
That's why they're not real New Yorkers.
No. I like the way that New Yorkers.
Yeah, you're not a New Yorker. Are we ever gonna find out what I'm attacking?
Joe D is watching the show. Joe,
yeah.
Can you clarify?
Was that a good joke or was that a good remark or a bad one?
I don't know.
Am I in trouble or?
There's something missing in there.
Yeah, brains, but we're all dumb.
Joe's a very dear friend of mine.
We still live in New York.
Matter of fact, Joe, if you're listening, Joe is a font of information for useless information. He knows a little bit about everything, He's a student of, it's a master's degree. He's a journalist, and he reads a lot, and he has a
So
lot
why
of
isn't he here?
sailing hard to port. Don't let the boom hit you in the head. That's a nautical term, by the way. Yeah. Very good show.
It's my Star Wars helmet. Leave me alone.
Yeah, all right.
But yeah, and I don't know what's going to happen. The guy who's coming in or running that everyone thinks is going to win, what's his name?
Adams.
Adams. Uh, you know, he was a cop when?
Not too long ago, he was a captain. He retired and became a state senator, and then he became a borough president.
But what I want to know is when he was a cop was during what years? Do you know?
20 years prior to, I met him at a dinner a few years ago. I would say he was a cop between 85 and 90 and 2005, something
Right.
like that.
Okay, that's what I was figuring. So that's during our New York City's great heyday of graffiti, garbage.
Well, the graffiti kind of leveled off a little bit.
The graffiti, there I saw somebody. I wish I can see that, find them that article, and they were explaining why the change and we lost so much crime, and it was a breeding issue because of that. Once they changed the laws about, oh, you can have as many kids as you want, but you can't have a man in the house. Those kids all grew up now and they had kids.
Mm.
And since they were raised on that level, that's what we're seeing now. And
You're right. You're
right. And we can't, we have to wait until the problem is everyone with this, you hurt my feelings, I'm insulted. So what? Get your feelings hurt. What's going to happen? You're offended. Everybody's going to be offended at some point or other.
The problem with the men that we have nowadays, the
We
young
have
men,
men. Oh,
they're not men. They're still children. The age that doesn't make them a man. Just because a guy's 19 or 20 years old doesn't make him a man. They have no. They're cowards.
no, they're not cowards. No, don't say that. They don't know. When you're raised being told, oh, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, you'll get a trophy for participating.
Okay.
They're trained to not to have to work. Or somebody asked me once not too long ago what I think the next major advancement is going to be in the next 4 years or 5 years or whatever it is. And I says, we're not going to have any because we don't have the drive to advance. We don't have the drive to go further. We're losing our ability to compete with people because we're making it wrong. We're taking away any kind of things that they want for competing. So if you compete and you win, unless you do it their way, you're going to be penalized for winning. God forbid you actually compete. How dare you? That's conflict. You hurt his feelings. He's just as good as you are. No, he lost. I run, you run. We get to the end.
I like the woman that said that when Tom Brady won the Super Bowl last year, and he beat a team with a black quarterback, he goes, he's a racist because he should have let them win. I mean, I don't understand the mentality of people that they're so brainwashed about this racism stuff.
No, they're not. They're not brainwashed. They know exactly what they're doing.
Well, okay.
Listen, this is not a brainwash thing. This is, oh, look, he got away saying that. I can get away with saying anything I want and just claim racism, and everyone is scared to do anything about it. Nobody wants to stand up and say, no, that wasn't racism. He's black. He pointed a gun at somebody. He shot somebody. We arrested him. I didn't arrest him because he's black. I arrested him because he shot somebody.
And who did he shoot? Probably another black person.
That's all they shoot.
Yeah.
because that's they
Now, can I
only
say something?
no.
A racist would say, well, not even a racist. Someone would. Let me say what the statement is. Let them kill each other. Okay. Now that could be considered a racial statement. So, well, a white guy just said, "Let them all kill each other," or what is the alternative to that?
Social.
Yeah.
Throw them all in throw everybody. It's like the old saying, shoot them all, let God sort them out.
Yeah. So
That's,
you have elderly black people, you have young black people getting shot accidentally because these guys are having gang wars, they're having turf battles, and they're not afraid of the police. They're not afraid of anything except a bullet, and they're shooting each other. All these shootings, I would say, and I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I would say 85% of them, maybe 90%, are gang related. Okay. They don't just shoot somebody for no reason. They shoot them because they're part of a gang or
no, no, no,
and then
no.
well, there are
A lot of these shootings was one guy got his feelings hurt.
okay. I mean, that's the 10%. Okay, that's the
Yeah,
10.
well, that's a little more than 10%. But
15,
that's basically, if you see what's going on, it's either they got their feelings hurt and they can't fight
no,
like a real
they got
person.
disrespected. They got disrespected, and in order to
Uh,
get respect, you got to shoot the guy.
well, I don't know about that because they didn't have any respect to begin with. So you can't take something away from somebody they don't have.
But they quote unquote. You disrespected me. You dissed me.
It's like the one in Jamaica not too long ago. That kid, I can't think of his name. He just came back from college. He was a black kid. He was just back from college for a vacation. He was in a bodega getting something to drink, and another guy walked past him and hit him, you know, with his elbow. And the guy turned around and they said something, and the guy who was the one that hit him first then launched at him to fight him. And he got his butt kicked. And then the guy left and came back 2 seconds later, waited for him to walk out of the store, and then shot him.
Hmm.
You know, I watched another video. I still don't know how this kid survived. These were these two kids, young kids, that were going to the store, and one guy was shooting at somebody else and came out and ran and tripped over the kids because he was running away from getting shot. And he kind of tripped over kids, so they all bundled up into like a little ball. And the guy who was shooting didn't stop shooting. He ran around them and started shooting down like this to try. He didn't hit anybody, which is a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Definitely.
point is, he didn't even stop and think and wait for the guy to get up and then wait until he runs and then shoot him. He didn't care about those kids that were on the floor with him. He did not care. So what happens? They don't have to worry about any consequences because, oh, he was poor. He had a rough upbringing. He was on the streets. He doesn't have a daddy. He's black, so you're arresting him because he's racist. He was expressing himself. He deserves a trophy. We don't have to let him go to school. I hate to tell everybody out there, but those people who think are trying to help you, they're not. When they're giving you stuff like that, they want you to fail.
Oh yeah.
They
Okay,
want you to kill them.
we have a minute left. Uh,
Yay. Now I have 3 minutes according to my computer.
all right, then we have 3 minutes left. I don't care. I want to thank you for coming on tonight and inspiring us with your brilliance or your bullshit. Uh,
Yeah, what are you inspired to do?
I don't know. I'm uninspired right now. I want to thank all people watching and commenting. Eddie Gazzetti, Joe DiFelice, and other people commenting, and that keeps us going.
Way too many Eddies today in the same room.
Yeah, Eddie Gazzetti, Eddie Earl from Howard Beach, or Earl, whatever, Earl Eddie. Who else?
Me?
You? Well, you don't count. You're in
Thanks.
front of the camera. You don't count.
I, I'm still an Ed.
Or as we say on Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, Little Italy, sempre noi, always with us. I want to thank everybody tonight. It was a very lively show, and we were both pretty lively. What do you think? Well, you were sleeping in the beginning, but that's okay.
I'm gonna go back to sleep the minute we shut off. What are you kidding?
Good night, everybody.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you.